Let's begin with your doubts. Let's begin with your doubts. We are doing AS-18. First, let's solve your doubts, then we will proceed. Okay, I'm repeating the concept of fellow subsidiary. In fact, if there are any other doubts, please let me know, because fellow subsidiary, I'm going to revise the entire standard again. So in any case, fellow subsidiary will be covered at that time. If you have any specific doubt, let's begin with that. Otherwise, I'll proceed with revising the standard. Okay, let's begin with AS-18. Related party disclosures. The first thing that we studied is what is the meaning of a related party. Parties are considered to be related if at any point of time during the reporting period, one party has the ability to control or exercise significant influence over the other party for making financial or operating decisions. Then we understood that the entire definition is easy, but the problem is we don't know the meaning of control and significant influence. So that is the next thing that they explained to us. That control means nothing but power to govern the financial and operating decisions of the enterprise. Control will exist when one party owns more than one half of the voting power of the other entity, or if the entity can control the composition of the board of directors. Your control will always give rise to holding and subsidiary relationship. On the other hand, we did something known as meaning of significant influence. Significant influence again means the power to govern the financial or operating decisions of the other entity. Significant influence will exist when, if one party holds 20% or more, there in control it was more than 50%. Here it is 20% or more than 20% of the voting power of another entity, or one entity can significantly influence the composition of the board of directors of or similar governing body of another entity. Significant influence will always give rise to investor associates. So, control will give rise to holding subsidiary, and significant influence will give rise to investor associate relationship. Then we did two key points, which says that if A and B are two related parties, and if even they do any transaction at the arm's length price, still, in spite of the fact that they've done the transaction at the arm's length price, you still will have to make separate disclosures for the related party transactions. Then it says if any entity is rendering services in professional capacity, then it will not lead to related party relationship. After that, we did important points. So parties which are considered to be related and separate disclosures are required. So now understand the concept of fellow subsidiaries. If B Limited and C Limited are having a common control A, and that common control is direct common control, in this case B and C both will be called as fellow subsidiaries, क्योंकि ये भी subsidiary है और ये भी subsidiary है, दोनों का common control है. Then these two will be known as fellow subsidiaries. It says B and C Limited in the diagram that I've given you. B and C Limited will be known as fellow subsidiaries. It is important that the basic relationship is on control. If the basic relationship is of control, only then you can have fellow subsidiary. You do not have any concept such as fellow associates, right? So you will only have fellow subsidiaries. That will happen when two entities are having a common control, common holding company, and that holding is direct. There is no indirect holding between the two. Right, come to the next one. A holds 40% in B in 30 and 35% in C. Now B and C, they are not subsidiaries at the first place. There is no common control because there is Understand this, lack of common control, they cannot be called as fellow associates, right? So there is no relationship in this example between B and C, right? I hope that solves your doubt pertaining to fellow subsidiaries. And this is what we have done till yesterday. Again, I'm asking you, if you have any doubt, please ask me, because I'm then going to proceed to the next part. Now you will be able to understand the next part only if you're clear till here. So please ensure that you are clear till here. If you have any doubts, please post it over here. Otherwise, we proceed with the next part, which is the definition of a relative. Yes, their relationship is called fellow subsidiaries. Their relationship is called fellow subsidiaries. Okay, since there are no doubts, come to the next page, which says what is the definition of a relative. Now understand the definition of a relative. If I talk about an individual, the individual parents are his relatives, the individual spouse is a relative, the individual's children are also relatives, and siblings are also relatives. Means if an individual does any transaction with parents, with spouse, with children, with siblings, then this will be termed as a related party transaction. Why? Because parents, spouse, children, and sibling are covered under the definition of a relative for an individual. Are you understanding? Right. So this is your definition as per Accounting Standard 18. That for an individual, these four kinds of people are their relatives. Now, since you have these as your relatives, any transaction with them will be termed as a related party transaction. Okay, come to the next one. What is the meaning of a joint venture? Joint venture is an entity where there is presence of joint control. So in a joint venture, two or three people whoever are the partners or whoever are the decision makers, they will take decision based on mutual consent. Joint control refers to a situation where decisions are taken based on mutual consent. So all the partners, all the decision makers will make the decision mutually. So joint venture or joint control means there is presence of a relationship where everyone will take a mutual decision. Right, come to the next one. It says practice question 2. Let's try and understand practice question 2. Now, practice question 2 you will solve for me. Right, so please pay attention. It says A Limited holds 80% in M Limited and A Limited holds 90% in O Limited. Let's begin. What do we have to do? From the following information, identify the related party relationships for each of the following parties. So we have five cases. You will solve for me all the five cases. Right, let's begin with the first case. In case 1, tell me, in the books of A Limited, what is B Limited? Check and tell me, in the books of A Limited, what is B Limited? In the books of A Limited, what is B Limited in practice question 2? Since I have explained everything to you, you should be in a position to solve this question. Okay, so for A Limited, For A Limited, O Limited is what in the question? What is the relationship between A Limited and O Limited? In the books of A Limited, B Limited is the subsidiary company. That is right. What about O Limited? In the books of A Limited, O Limited is what company? What is the relationship between A and B? Subsidiary company. Okay, come to the next one. I'm sorry, it is not B Limited, it is M Limited. Okay. Now let's go to M Limited. In the books of M Limited, A Limited is in the books of M Limited. A Limited is in the books of M Limited. A Limited is holding company. Okay, perfect. In the books of M Limited, in the books of M Limited, O Limited is in the books of M Limited. O Limited is in the books of M Limited. O Limited is excellent fellow subsidiary company. So in the books of M Limited, O Limited is what? A fellow subsidiary company. Excellent. Very good. Chalo, let's go to the next one. In the books of O Limited, let's talk about the books of O Limited. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is in the books of O Limited. A Limited is very good. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is the holding company. Okay. In the books of O Limited, M Limited is in the books of O Limited. M Limited is in the books of O Limited. M Limited is fellow subsidiary. Excellent. Fellow subsidiary company. Perfect. Look at the solution. As per AS-18, related party disclosures, A Limited and M Limited is the subsidiary company, O is also the subsidiary company. In the books of M Limited, A Limited is the holding company and O Limited is the fellow subsidiary company. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is the holding company and M Limited is the fellow subsidiary company. Very good, excellent. Let's go to question number 2. Let's go to question number 2. Now I have explained all these concepts to you. So you will solve the second one also for me. A Limited holds 30%. So I'm writing the question also over here. A Limited holds 30% in M Limited. And A Limited also holds 25% in O Limited. Let's begin. In the books of A Limited, tell me, in the books of A Limited, what is M Limited? In the books of A Limited, what is M Limited? In the books of A Limited, what is M Limited? Associate company. Perfect, very good. In the books of A Limited, what is O Limited? In the books of A Limited, what is O Limited? In the books of A Limited, what is O Limited? Excellent. That is also an associate company. Very good. Come to the next one. In the books of M Limited. Let's focus in the books of M Limited. What is A Limited? In the books of M Limited, what is A Limited? That is my question to you. In the books of M Limited, what is A Limited? I am repeating my question for you. In the books of M Limited, please tell me what is A Limited. In the books of M Limited, what is A Limited? Very good, investor company. Okay. In the books of M Limited, what is O Limited? In the books of M Limited, what is O Limited? In the books of M Limited, what is O Limited? O Limited is my question. In the books of M Limited, O Limited is no relationship. Excellent. It is no relationship. Okay. Come to the last one. In the books of O Limited. Let's solve in the books of O Limited. In the books of O Limited, M Limited is in the books of O Limited, M Limited is no relation. Okay. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is in the books of O Limited, A Limited is I am again repeating the question. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is investor company. Okay, excellent. Very good. Fine, perfect. Come to question number 3. Let's solve question number 3. I'm drawing the figure for you over here. A Limited holds 80%, B Limited, and B Limited holds 20%, O Limited. Right, this is what the diagram is. Now let's begin. In the books of A Limited, in the books of A Limited, what is B Limited? I have drawn a diagram in the chat box. Please look at the diagram and tell me. In the books of A Limited, B Limited is in the books of A Limited, B Limited is subsidiary company. Perfect. In the books of A Limited, O Limited is in the books of A Limited, O Limited is no relationship. Okay, excellent. No relationship. Perfect. What about in the books of B Limited? Look at the diagram that I have drawn in the chat box. In the books of B Limited. In the books of B Limited. A Limited is in the books of B Limited. A Limited is in the books of B Limited. A Limited is, of course, the holding company. In the books of B Limited. O Limited is in the books of B Limited. O Limited is excellent. It is O Limited is the associate company. Okay, perfect. Let's go to the last one. In the books of O Limited. In the books of O Limited. A Limited is in the books of O Limited. A Limited is A Limited. No relationship. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is no relationship. In the books of O Limited, B Limited is in the books of O Limited, B Limited is investor company. Perfect. So B Limited is the investor company. Perfect. Very good. Okay. Now, before I go to the next question, that is question number 4, I want to ask you, are you clear till here? Are you absolutely clear till here, whatever we have done till now? Right, please answer to me so that I understand and then I proceed. I don't end up wasting my time. Okay, good then. Let's proceed. Question number 4. Let's solve question number 4. It says A Limited, ध्यान देना, 80%, M Limited, M Limited 85%, O Limited. A Limited holds 80% in M Limited and M Limited holds 85% in O Limited. Let's begin. If I talk about in the books of A Limited, M Limited is in the books of A Limited, M Limited is Subsidiary company? Very good. So M Limited is subsidiary company. Very good. Let's go to the next one. In the books of A Limited, O Limited is in the books of A Limited. O Limited is again O Limited is your subsidiary company. So O Limited subsidiary company. Very good. Come to the next one. Then you have in the books of M Limited. In the books of M Limited. A Limited is A Limited will be holding company. Perfect. In the books of M Limited, O Limited is O Limited is O Limited is also O Limited is the subsidiary company. Perfect. What about in the books of O Limited? A Limited is in the books of O Limited. A Limited is in the books of O Limited. A Limited is the holding company. Correct. In the books of O Limited. What about B Limited? B Limited is also the holding company. Okay, very good. I think you are through with this. Let's go to the last question. Question number 5. I'm again drawing the diagram for you. A Limited holds 70% in M Limited and M Limited holds 15% in N Limited. This is your diagram. Tell me, in the books of A Limited, M Limited is subsidiary company. So M Limited, subsidiary company. Very good. In the books of A Limited, what about N Limited? In the books of A Limited, N Limited is in the books of A Limited. N Limited is Tulsi. Can you please explain to me how is it a subsidiary company? It is no relationship. Okay. What about the books of M Limited? In the books of M Limited, A Limited is in the books of M Limited. A Limited is in the books of A Limited. In the books of M Limited, A Limited is the holding company. Perfect. In the books of M Limited, what is N Limited? In the books of M Limited, what is N Limited? It is no relationship. Perfect. Finally, in the books of N Limited, what is A Limited? In the books of N Limited, what is A Limited? In the books of N Limited, what is A Limited? No relationship. Excellent. In the books of N Limited, what is M Limited? In the books of N Limited, what is M Limited? In the books of N Limited, what is M Limited? No relationship. Perfect. Very good. Okay. Very good. All the answers that you have given are correct, which means you have understood it properly. Good. Come to the next important concept, which is concept of effective control. Come to the next page where you can find concept of effective control. The concept of effective control. Okay, now please understand with full attention, only then you will be able to understand this. Let's look at the example that they have given. It says A Limited is holding 80% in B Limited and B Limited is holding 30% in C Limited. Right? Pay attention. A Limited is holding 80% in B and B is holding 30% in C. Now please pay attention. If I look at in the books of A Limited, then for me, B Limited is subsidiary company. Now please pay attention on C Limited. If I look at C Limited, actually there is no relationship directly. But I have to understand this one important thing, that A Limited will hold 80% of decision of B and B will hold 30% of decision of C. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जब B C का 30% डिसीजन लेगा तो ये 30% में से 80% तो मेरे हाथ में रहेगा, क्योंकि बी के रिलेटेड सारे डिसीजन 80% तक तो कौन लेने वाला है? ए लेने वाला है. Again I am explaining to you. A will hold 80% in B. B is holding 30% in C. Now let's understand in an absolutely layman language. B के 80% डिसीजन कौन लेगा? I am writing that over here. B's 80% decision will be taken by A. B के 80% डिसीजन A लेगा और C के 30% डिसीजन B लेगा. Which means क्योंकि A का, because A has 80% control on B. Understand this. Through B, it will control C. Now the question is how through B it will control C. So when B takes 30% of the decisions in C, in this 30%, 80% A will take decisions. Which means 30% into 80% comes to how much? 24%. Which means, please pay attention to this statement, which means A Limited is holding 24% in C Limited through B Limited. Are you understanding? C Limited में A का कितना परसेंट होल्डिंग है? 24%. क्यों 24% होल्डिंग है? क्योंकि बीच में B है. B की वजह से A C में कितना होल्ड कर रहा है? 24%. Are you understanding? Again I am repeating to you. A holds 80% in B. B holds 30% in C, which means B के 80% डिसीजन A लेगा और C के 30% डिसीजन B लेगा, क्योंकि A B में 80% डिसीजन लेगा, B की हर बात में A का 80% से रहेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि 80% होल्डिंग है. वैसे ही B जब 30% C के डिसीजन लेगा तो A कहेगा यार इसमें भी मेरा 80% राइट है, which means 30% into 80% will come to how much? 24%. Now 24% exceeds 20%, which means by the concept of effective control, देखो डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल नहीं है, किसी के थ्रू है, by the means of effective control, by the means of effective control, I can say that A Limited holds 24% in B Limited. Are you understanding? By the means of what? By the means of effective control. By the means of effective control, A Limited holds 20% in B Limited. Right? Are you clear with this? Are you clear with this concept of effective control? Are you clear with this concept of effective control? Okay, perfect. If you're clear with this, let's solve that example. Again, I'm writing the example for you. A Limited holds 80% in B Limited, and B Limited holds 30%. 30% in C Limited. Okay, let's solve this. In the books of A Limited, B Limited is subsidiary company and C Limited is associate company because of the concept of effective control. Similarly, in the books of B Limited, look at that. In the books of B Limited, A Limited is the holding company, C Limited is the associate company. Again, in the books of C Limited, in the books of C Limited, B Limited is the investor company and A Limited is also the investor company by effective control. Are you understanding? A Limited will be your investor company because of effective control. Okay, look at the last statement, the most important statement of this entire example. Concept of effective control will work only when there is holding subsidiary relationship. So if A and B have holding subsidiary relationship, if A and B have holding subsidiary relationship, only then you will have effective control. Right? Which means if A holds 30% in B and B holds 70% in C, then there cannot be, I'm writing over here, there cannot be effective control between A and C. Why? Because there is no holding and subsidiary relationship between A and B. जब तक A और B के बीच में कंट्रोल का रिलेशनशिप नहीं होगा, होल्डिंग सब्सिडी का रिलेशनशिप नहीं होगा, A cannot have any kind of effective control relationship with C. Are you understanding? Okay, fine. Come to practice question 3. If you're clear with this, come to practice question 3. Come to practice question 3. Okay, look at the question that they've given to you. I am writing the question in two parts. A Limited holds 40% in B Limited and B Limited holds 80% in D Limited. This is the first part of the question. Then A Limited holds 30% in C Limited and C Limited holds 20% in E Limited. Okay, mark this important last revision question. A Limited has 40% in B and 80% in D. A Limited has 30% in C and 20% in E. Let's begin. In the books of A Limited. In the books of A Limited, what is B Limited? In the books of A Limited, what is B Limited? Associate company? It is associate company. Perfect. Let's again begin. In the books of A Limited, D Limited is? In the books of A Limited, D Limited is? In the books of A Limited, D Limited is? In the books of A Limited, D Limited is? Excellent. No relationship. Very good. In the books of A Limited, C Limited is? In the books of A Limited, C Limited is? In the books of A Limited, C Limited is? Associate company? Okay. In the books of A Limited, E Limited is? In the books of A Limited, E Limited is? In the books of A Limited, E Limited is? Okay, very good. No relationship. Okay, very good. What you're saying is absolutely correct. No relationship. Before I go to B limited, I have one doubt which I want you to solve for me. I think there is a relation between B limited and C limited. Is there any relationship between B limited and C limited? This is my doubt, and I want you to solve it for me. Is there any relationship between B and C? Okay, then I have another doubt. Suppose if A was holding 80% in B and 70% in C, then is there a relation between B and C? Suppose if A was holding in this very question, if A was holding 80% in B and 70 in C, then will your answer change? Then is there a relationship between B and C? Absolutely correct. Then the relation is of a fellow subsidiary. So what you have said is absolutely correct. Perfect. Very good. Okay, let's get back to our original question. In the books of B Limited, tell me, in the books of B Limited, A Limited is in the books of B Limited. A Limited is Spruha, can you explain to me how holding company? We are back to our original question. In the books of A Limited, in the books of B Limited, A Limited is, of course, your investor company. In the books of B Limited, A Limited is your investor company. In the books of B Limited, D Limited is in the books of B Limited. D Limited is in the books of B Limited. D Limited is subsidiary company. Okay, perfect. In the books of B Limited, C Limited is in the books of B Limited. C Limited is in the books of B Limited. C Limited is no relationship. Okay, very good. No relationship. In the books of B Limited. E Limited is in the books of B Limited. E Limited is in the books of D limited. E limited is no relationship. E limited is no relationship. Very good. Okay, so we are done with A, B, and D. Let's come to C limited. In the books of C limited. In the books of C limited, A limited is in the books of C limited. A limited is in the books of C limited. A limited is in the books of C limited. A limited is of course the investor company. Okay, in the books of C limited. E limited is in the books of C limited. E limited is in the books of C limited. E limited is associate company. Correct. It is your associate company. What about B limited? So in the books of C limited, B limited is in the books of B limited is no relationship. Okay, what about D limited? D limited. D limited is also no relationship. Okay, come to the last one. In the books of E limited. Let's come to the last one in the books of E limited. Okay, in the books of E limited, E limited is in the books of E limited. A limited is Khushi. Look at your solution once again and understand my question. In the books of E, A limited is no relationship. In the books of E, C limited is in the books of E. 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 C limited is investor company. Perfect. In the books of E limited, B limited is in the books of E limited. B limited is no relationship at all. Correct. In the books of E limited, what about B limited? In the books of E limited, what about D limited? So D limited also Delimited is also no relationship. Delimited is also no relationship. Okay, very good. That brings you to the end of the concept of effective control. Right? Are you clear till here? Are you absolutely clear till here? Are you all clear till here? Please let me know so that I can proceed accordingly. Okay, perfect. Take a 5 minutes break. Then we continue. So right now the time is 9:10. Let's meet at 9:15. Why can't we apply this effective control to any other case than holding company? Because you will be able to exercise control only when you have holding and subsidiary relationship. Since the word says effective control, you won't be able to exercise effective control unless until you have basic control of holding subsidiary relationship. So only if you have the basic control of holding subsidiary relationship, only then will you be able to exercise effective control. So that is primarily the reason why initially there has to be holding subsidiary relationship. Only then you can exercise effective control. Right. I hope Spruha that solves your doubt. Right. I hope that solves your doubt. Okay. Take a 5 minutes break. See you back at 9:15. Okay, let's continue. Now I have sent you two images on your group. I have sent you two images on your group. In that, let's look at illustration 1. I have sent you two images on your group. Let's look at illustration 1. Again, that you will solve for me. Now please understand the first rule. When they give you in this text form, when they give you the information in this text form, you always convert it into a diagram. Once you convert this into a diagram, then I think things will be very easy for you. Which means it says, let me make it for you. A limited holds 51% in B limited. A limited holds 51% in B limited, right? B limited holds 51% in O limited. So B limited owns 51% O limited, and then Z limited holds Z limited holds 49% in O limited. Right now, I will make this diagram for you. Just give me 1 minute. I'll prepare a proper diagram with you so that you can easily understand the question. Once I prepare the diagram, 80% of the work is done. Then the remaining part you will solve for me. So you have A limited. Again, read the question carefully. If you make a mistake in making the diagram, your question is gone. A limited holds 51% in B limited. B limited in turn holds 51% in O limited, and Z limited is holding 49% in O limited, right? Now look at this question, and whenever such a kind of question is asked to you in the exam, this is how you will first prepare your diagram. You will start solving the question only once you're done with the diagram. So look at the diagram that I've posted to you. And looking at the diagram, let's start solving it. Let's begin in the books of A limited. Sorry, in the books of A limited, tell me. B limited is in the books of A limited. B limited is in the books of A limited. B limited is subsidiary company. Okay, excellent. In the books of A limited, O limited is in the books of A limited. O limited is also a subsidiary company. Excellent. Okay, interesting question. Pay attention. In the books of A limited, Z limited is. Please pay attention to which point the arrow is pointed. To which direction is the arrow pointed? That is important. And after you're done with that, tell me. In the books of O limited, Z limited is. In the books of O limited, Z limited is. In the books of In the books of A Limited, Z Limited is no relationship. Absolutely right. I am repeating again. In the books of A Limited, O Limited is no relationship. Z Limited, no relationship. In the books of A Limited, Z Limited, no relationship. So I'm again repeating for you. Pay attention. In the books of A Limited, B Limited is the subsidiary company, O Limited is the subsidiary company, and Z Limited is no relationship. Right? I hope this is clear. Come to the next one. In the books of B Limited, let's begin with that. In the books of B Limited, A Limited is in the books of B Limited, A Limited is in the books of B Limited, A Limited is holding company. So A Limited, holding company. In the books of B Limited, O Limited is in the books of B Limited, O Limited is subsidiary company. Very good. Okay. In the books of B Limited, Z Limited is in the books of B Limited, Z Limited is in the books of B Limited, Z Limited is in the books of B Limited, Z Limited is no relationship. Excellent. Very good. Okay. In the books of O Limited, A Limited is A Limited is the holding company. Correct. So in the books of O Limited, A Limited is the holding company. What about B Limited? B Limited is also holding company. Excellent. In the books of O Limited, what about Z Limited? Z Limited is in the books of O Limited. Z Limited is right. Excellent. I think you all have become experts in accounting standard 18. It is, of course, the investor company. Very good. Come to the last one. In the books of Z Limited. A Limited is, okay, so you answer to me in a stream. A Limited is, B Limited is, and O Limited is. Answer in this sequence. In the books of Z Limited, what about A, B, and O? Spruha, please understand the question. Ishika, understand the question and then answer. In the books of Z, please individually think and answer. Don't be in a haste. Don't be in a hurry to answer. A Limited, no relationship. B Limited, no relationship. O Limited, of course, there is. It is the associate company. So Spruha and Ishika, just check what you have written. Okay, now please understand two important instructions that I'm giving to you. Right? Please pay attention to the two important instructions that I'm giving to you. We began understanding this question from the basic questions. So, in the initial questions, you will find that there was effective control, but we did not record it. But we did because अभी तो मैं आपको नया नया कंसेप्ट सारे सिखा रहा था. अब नए कंसेप्ट में if I introduce a difficult concept such as effective control, then you would have got confused. So in the initial questions, we have not introduced the effective control. Effective control we have introduced from the point we understood that concept. Make this thing first clear. Second thing, whenever there is no relationship, it's okay to leave it and not write no relationship. मतलब जहां जहां नो रिलेशनशिप है, हमने आज तक हर एक में लिखा है नो रिलेशनशिप. लेकिन अगर आपको एग्जाम में टाइम बचाना है तो आप वहां पे कुछ भी नहीं लिखोगे, जैसे आपके स्टडी मटेरियल के इलस्ट्रेशन 1 के एग्जाम आंसर में दिया हुआ है. व्हेन देयर वाज नो रिलेशनशिप विद जेड, they have not mentioned Z. You can also do that. That is not a problem. I wrote no relationship and I asked you about every relationship in the question because I wanted you to be thorough with the concept. I was explaining you the concept. I wanted to repeat the concept again and again. I wanted you to be absolutely clear with the concept. That is why at every point I made you write this thing, that there is no relationship. But in the exam you can skip that. Only when there is a relationship you add that. Are you understanding? Right? I hope this is absolutely clear to you. Okay, fine. Come to the last part for today and then we will continue with this standard tomorrow. Come to the last part, which is key managerial personnel. Let's do key managerial personnel. Okay, pay attention to key managerial personnel, also known as KMP. Key managerial personnel, KMP, relates to those individuals who have underlying authority and responsibility for planning, directing, and controlling the activities of the reporting enterprise. So KMP means the individuals who have what? authority and responsibility to do what? To plan, control, and direct the activities of the enterprise. See what KMP includes and what it excludes. Important point है, ध्यान देना, आगे क्वेश्चन में काम आएगा. KMP will include MD. So I'm writing over here. KMP includes 1. It includes MD. 2. It includes whole time director. 3. It includes manager. So KMP में क्या क्या included है? Managing director, whole time director और manager. KMP में क्या क्या excluded है? What is excluded? The first one is part-time director. Right? So one who is a part-time director is not your KMP. Second, independent director. If the independent director does not have control, then he is excluded. Are you understanding? Once again, who is a key managerial personnel? A person who has control, who has the authority and responsibility for controlling, directing, and planning the activities of the organization. KMP will include managing director or whole-time director and manager. It will exclude part-time director. And if the independent director does not have any control or significant influence, then that person will be excluded. Are you understanding? Okay, come to the next page. Look at the reporting norms. Very important. Mark reporting norms as very important. Look at the reporting norms. Mark reporting norms very important. Okay, it says every transaction. ध्यान देना, illustration number 2 में काम आएगा. Every transaction between KMP and the entity will be treated as a related party relationship. मतलब KMP और entity के बीच में कोई भी transaction होगा उसको हम क्या मानेंगे? Related party relationship. And will be disclosed separately, which means any transaction with a key managerial personnel is always a related party relationship. I'm writing over here, any transaction between KMP and company or entity is always related party transaction, which means if the entity gives managerial remuneration to whole time director, is it related party transaction? The answer is yes. Are you understanding? If the entity gives managerial remuneration to whole time director, yes. If the entity gives sitting fees to director, is it related party transaction? Answer is yes. Are you understanding? Every transaction between KMP and the entity is always a related party transaction. It needs to be disclosed separately. Right? Are you clear with this? Please let me know. Are you absolutely clear with this? Only if you're clear with this, we will go to the last question for today. Are you clear with this? Please let me know. Are you clear with this? Do you have any doubts? If there are any, let's solve them right now. Okay, I think this much is sufficient for today. Uh, Thank you so much for joining, and I will now see you today at 3:30 for audit, and I'll see you tomorrow 8 a.m. for yes. Tomorrow we will be able to finish AS-18 completely. Right? Thank you so much for attending. If you have any doubts, please come back to me. And most importantly, please revise whatever we have done today. If you revise, you will have doubts. If those doubts are solved, then I will believe that you have completely understood the entire standard and you're ready to attempt any question of this accounting standard. Fine, I think you have a next lecture soon, probably at 10 or 10:15. So take a break and then you may resume. But please revise whatever we have done. If you have any doubts, come back to me. We will continue with illustration 2 tomorrow and we will finish off AS-18 tomorrow. Thank you and see you at 3:30 for audit. Thank you. Bye.